to the Chicago Tomahawk. I am Matt. I am here today alone, spending a nice little getaway with the family up in the Dells, having a good time at a water park with the kids. Taking a couple minutes to talk some Blackhawk hockey. Had to get away a little bit. I got me a nice Labatt Blue I just popped open. Very delicious. So let's talk Hawks Jets. The Hawks fell 3-1. I was actually in attendance. First game back since the famous Austin Matthews Patrick Kane goal trade-off. And I quite honestly, I don't remember the year that was, but it was an awesome game. I think it was a very high-scoring game, and Matthews scored late, started taunting the crowd like the Kirby Doc, can you hear me now type of taunt. About 30 seconds later, I remember Kaner buried one. Same thing. And I think Matthews ended up getting the last laugh in OT, just burying it. Just a snipe over Forsberg's glove. But anyway, back to the Jets game. Yeah, man, it was a different atmosphere for me, man. It felt like the 300 level was a lot of empty seats. And I know they're not that great anymore. They're rebuilding. Fans, don't want to waste the money and stuff like that, but it was totally different from the last time I was there. It's kind of sad, actually. Like, it's like a ending of an era type of deal and almost depressing, but I still get chills when, they play the beginning Orchard song. Actually, they had a guy with a horn doing it. It was awesome. Doing the dun-dun-dun type of beginning. It was great. And then they played the tribute with the Might of Rome song from Gladiator, and that always gets me going too. I still get goosebumps when they show all the Hawks names and the clips of the old school guys. It gets me going. And of course, Jimmy C singing the anthems. Oh, Canada. Oh, beautifully done. I loved it. Of course, the national anthem was great. It was still loud. Still love that. Very patriotic. Love that. The game wasn't that great. The Hawks absolutely got dominated. I thought the score should have been easily 7-1. Soderbloom, wow, this kid live, it's different. On TV, it's one thing. I was really like zoning in on him and just kind of taking it in. I love watching goalies. I was really hoping Connor Hellebuck got the start, but he didn't. And it's good coaching by the Jets. I mean, why would you, put your starter in against the Hawks? They're, almost sitting dead last, and it's good to get the backup some reps in. But back to Soderblom, I thought he was phenomenal. He had like 29 saves, and he had a couple really big saves. You're looking, you're like, oh no, here's another one. He gets that glove out there, he sticks the pad out and makes a desperation save. But man, he is, honestly, right now, he is like the only Hawk that I would like keep at the deadline. The way everything's going, he is one guy I think the Hawks need to give a long look at. Hawks haven't really, been... They haven't had really good luck with goaltending. Of course, Corey Crawford was, one of the best goalies in the franchise. And before that, it was we had some pretty bad goalies, and, we had some good ones. Some good ones would pop in, like Jocelyn Thibault and, Jeff Hackett. He was okay. Eddie Belfour, obviously, my guy. He's phenomenal. In my opinion, I still think he is the best goalie in Hawks history. And it's just sad we couldn't see a Stanley Cup with him. Of course, Tony O before that, and just not too many good elite guys, but, you got to give this kid a look. When you're rebuilding, you want to find a guy you can kind of build around. You got a solid goalie. Okay, we got our guy in net. Let's move up to defense. Let's try to get a top four. You got Korchinski waiting to go. You got Del Maestro in there. These are two guys, good building blocks. Everything else, I just don't see. I mean, I really kind of... I remember Mike texting me during the game, hey, keep an eye on Ian Mitchell. And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. And you know what? He looked like a fish out of water. He was... he just didn't look confident out there. I know he's young. It's hard to get confidence when you're playing the Jets. They're the first place team in the Central. They're a good team, good sound team. But I just didn't like his performance. He got caught pinching a couple times, and I didn't really see him much out there. So who knows with this kid? But I think they got a really good piece in net. They give him a long look. I hope they don't quit on him too early because, he's going to pile on the losses. That's just how it's going to be. But I like what I'm seeing. He's fast. He's making great saves. And you know what? He's not quitting on himself. He's out there. He's busting his ass for full 60 minutes. And that's all you can ask from any player. And he's doing it. So the Hawks, that's their 11th loss in 12 games. So this is exactly where, most people, we're the team we're expecting. It's here, and it's gonna get more painful. We're running into some good teams, and I'm really surprised the Jets. I mean, they're 18-7-1. I don't even think I penciled the Jets in to make the playoffs, but they got that new coach. I believe it's Bonus they got from Dallas. He stepped down in Dallas and he went to Winnipeg, and it's been great over there. I know they got some elite players. I know Kyle Connor's not really lighting it up this year, but he's one of my favorites. I got to watch him in warm-ups, dude. This guy's an absolute stud out there. He's a beauty. And Josh Morrissey, man, I think this guy's going to win the Norris. He is absolutely tearing it up. He's got 5 goals, 25 assists in 26 games played. That is just phenomenal. He's a +11. You know what? I was talking to my buddy. I went to the game with him. I'm like, dude, this guy's coming out of nowhere. I don't think anyone had this guy penciled in to win the Norris Trophy. You got your Cale Makars out there. You got your Adam Foxes. And Josh Morrissey is just tearing it up right now. And I think he's going to win it the way he's playing. This guy can move the puck well. He plays good defense, and he makes really, really smart passes. I noticed that in the offensive zone. He was really good on the power play. I think he got 2 points in this game. And it's just it's a bummer, 3-1 isn't that bad against the Jets. And we had some power play opportunities. The Hawks just couldn't get it done. And I think the only goal the Hawks scored was from Taylor Radish. I think it was his 8th goal, assisted by Kurashev. Cole Perfini, he got his 6th goal, assisted by Morrissey. Blake Wheeler, actually, a guy who's kind of just got lost. They took his C away. He's got his 9th of the year. Another assist by Morrissey, and Connor with the secondary assist. And then obviously the Taylor Radish goal in the second, 8th assisted by Kurashev. And then in the third period, Adam Lowry got his 6th, assisted by Harkins and Barron. And David Riddick with the win, backing up. He didn't look that bad. He didn't really face that many shots. But, good for them. They're in first place. I just did not see it coming. I thought St. Louis would be a lot better this year, and man, they're just having some problems with the goaltending. Jordan Binnington is just, man, he's got a personality. He's an angry dude out there, and you could tell he's struggling out there. He's getting really emotional. He's losing his cool during the game. You can't do that as a goalie. You got to stay composed. You can't let anything bother you, even if it is bothering you. You gotta stay in your crease, just try to stay focused, and he is just running around, hitting guys, he's slashing guys, talking smack to guys on the bench. It's not working out. I hate to, rip a attendee, but I think it's worth it. It most definitely deserves it, the way he's been playing. He's been, he's almost out trying to hurt guys, and you don't want to see that. But I won't bash the Blues anymore. They're still above us. We're sitting last now, so hey, it's Connor Bedard. It's looking good the way the Hawks are playing. I mean, if we can land the first round pick, this kid is a stud. It's a very deep draft, but I think it would be awesome if we landed Connor Bedard. It's almost like like drafting Kane and Taves. It's like we got our young stud. We're gonna start building around it to get you excited again. Because right now it's just not fun to be a Hawks fan. It's very boring, and there's really the offense was just brutal. Even I noticed Kane would get a little rush, and he couldn't even get a step ahead of anybody. They're just on him. He's got no one to pass to. Anthony Siu, he flies out there, but he does skate with his head down, and he is going to get clobbered more if he keeps doing that. And I know him and Jacob Trouba have, they exchanged some words through the media. I think Anthony Siu said this guy is making $8 million to try to hurt people. And I disagree. I think Jacob Trouba, I think he's just a hard-hitting Scott Stevens-like defenseman. And, Anthony Siu, he's got to be more responsible. You're seeing a lot of guys getting just wrecked trying to skate the puck up the open ice, not expecting to get hit. It's just irresponsible on their part. They got to do a better job. But let's go. We'll jump into the next subject. The Hawks will be taking on Ovi and the Washington Capitals, I think, Tuesday night, late ESPN big game, spotlight night, Ovi is getting closer to his 800th goal. I think he's chasing Gordie Howe now, so he's getting one step closer to Gretz, number 99. I personally think he's going to break the goal scoring record. I know Ovi's pretty healthy. He's older, but he's a big dude. He cares about his health. I think right now he really wants it. And I think the Capitals are going to do everything they can to, make him succeed. They're going to give him, more deals if he doesn't. And, he scores from the same spot a lot, but hey, the puck crosses the line. It's a goal. So I think he's going to do it. And I think Gretzky's actually rooting for him. That's just how classy, 99 is. But Gretzky still will go down as the greatest player to ever play. Ovi might just be the greatest goal scorer. Jumping back to the Hawks news, I did see a tweet from a famous, I don't want to say names because I don't want to, put words in guys' mouths and stuff, but a famous, respected Canadian TSN guy said he doesn't think Kane will be moved at the deadline only because Kane will turn down any trade because he doesn't want to, get moved at the deadline and then have to move again in the summer, during free agency, obviously around, July 1st. He's got a young kid now. He's got his fiance, I believe. I think it's his fiance now. But I think Kane wants to move once. So it sounds, you never know. It's all speculation. It sounds like Kane might finish the year with the Hawks. And he probably could walk, July 1st, find a team, his next contract, which would be incredibly sad. But it kind of sucks if the Hawks can't get any assets for this guy. If, he does walk for nothing, it does suck. But hey, Kane has, he's, gave everything for this franchise. He's, big goals, great numbers, and obviously the 3 Stanley Cups. So it's on him. But then I did see another tweet from a guy saying, actually the same guy, weeks before, it kind of was brought up by a different guy saying that he really, really wants to break Stan Mikita's record as the greatest Blackhawk goal scorer of all time. And I think Mike said this a couple times. I could see this too. Some guys just, want to stay in one place and they want to call, their city, their first team, their home. You see Stevie Y. You've seen guys like Joe Sakic. I know he started with I believe the Quebec Nordiques, but they ended up moving to the, Colorado Avalanche. But, I consider that the same franchise. And you don't see it much anymore, but, even Stan Mikita, he played his whole career with the Blackhawks, and that's probably why he's got all the big numbers and everything. And it would be nice to see Kaner, be Mr. Blackhawk, if you want to say, all-time greatest goal scorer. I would love it. But in a sense, when you're rebuilding, you want to speed this up. And then in another sense, hey, you're going to get a high draft pick from a guy, a team trying to, win the Stanley Cup. So it's not going to be like a top 5 pick. So you never know. Some guys don't pan out in the later round, the later picks of the first. So we're just going to have to be patient. I know it's getting closer. We are, almost at Christmas. So I believe March is the trade deadline. As for Taves, from what I've seen in the game, he can win a face-off. He looks like he cares out there still. He kind of takes stupid penalties, which I didn't get. He took a really bad penalty. It kind of didn't look like one, but you look at the replays, like, dude, you can't be doing that. That's a rookie penalty. But I could see a team making a pitch for him in the playoffs. He can win faceoffs. He's got the experience, a great locker room guy, well respected. It's just getting old with all this trade stuff. I know, I get it, but it's just the time we're in right now and the stage with the Hawks. We're gonna have to just cover it. But I'll end it with that. We'll go to a little bit of NHL news. Chris Letang, poor dude, he suffered a stroke a couple weeks ago, and he actually returned the last game. And which is amazing to me. I mean, I thought, you suffer a serious condition like that, you'd want to take it easy. And he said he's good to go. He wants to play. In his first game back, he put up 22 minutes and 14 seconds of ice time. Unbelievable, dude. I know the dude's a fitness nut. I've seen his videos and stuff. Just a remarkable athlete. The CrossFit type of stuff. The guy takes his training very serious. He said he knows the risks and he trusts the doctors. They're, some of the best guys in the world, stuff like that. And good for him. I hope he doesn't, I hope he's not rushing. I know the Penguins aren't really lighting it up right now. But he kudos to him for getting out there and trying to help the team out, because he's just like the Hawks, they have their big three, like the Malkin, Crosby, obviously, and Letang are like their guys. It's almost like Kane, Keith, and Taves over. It's like the same thing over there, but they've just had better playoff success lately. They always find a way to win. And, I respect that. I'm obviously I'm a huge fan of the Robo Penguin jersey, the reverse retro. I think it's awesome. But jumping back, I got to give a little shout out to Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres. I actually watched this game. I couldn't believe it. I think it was December 7th against the Columbus Blue Jackets. This kid scored 5 goals. He had 1 assist. I believe he scored 4 in the first period alone. He put up 6 points that night. And this kid's got 41 points in 28 games. This is just so lucky. I mean, you trade a guy like Jack Eichel. You got this kid, Tage Thompson, playing center. He's going to be a superstar. He was scoring almost on every shot. I couldn't believe it. Just good for him. You know what? I'm going to go to some stats now. I know that, obviously Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are always at the top. And they are right now. They're sitting 54 points. Connor McDavid, Draisaitl's behind him with 46. And number 3, Jason Robertson with 42. And Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres, number 4 with 41. Unbelievable. These two guys, youngsters, coming out of nowhere. Jason Robertson has 23 goals. McDavid is sitting on top with 25. Tage Thompson is right behind him with 21. And I don't know if you guys remember, but when they brought Dale Talon back to team up with Pat Foley, I think it was against Dallas. And I remember in the third period, Dale Talon absolutely raving about Jason Robertson. This kid is going to he's a real deal. He's going to be a 40-goal scorer easy in the future, maybe even a 50. And Dale Talon is just a hockey genius. I actually just listened to a podcast with him, with the boys from Cam and Strick. They're kind of a St. Louis-based podcast, but these guys, I'm 36. I don't know, you guys out there, you probably grew up watching guys like Roenick, Steve Yzerman, like all the Paul Kariya guys, Teemu Selanne, the guys like that in the 90s era. They're always interviewing these guys and always got great ones. Tony Amani, one of my favorite interviews. He was great. Good Hawks stories. But they just interviewed Dale Talon. And, Dale Talon, they did some deep diving, like how I don't know if you guys remember, Dale Talon he didn't get along with John McDonough, and they couldn't get rid of him just because they didn't get along. But there was a time where they had, I think it was about 4 restricted free agents, and the paperwork wasn't filed correctly, so these guys were automatically UFAs. So they probably got more money. It was kind of a mistake. Dale Talon took the heat for it, but he kind of clarified what happened. He said he was actually in quarantine. He had like some virus, and he gave the directions to his staff. They didn't do it right. And I believe it was Troy Brower, Buff, Versteeg, and maybe it was someone else. They all became UFAs, and Dale had to negotiate with their agents, and they probably got more than they, this was I believe it was 2010. They got more than what the restricted free agency qualifying offers would be, but they ended up, letting him go. And he said he took that really hard. He had a really good relationship with a lot of the players, and it, later in the podcast, I'm not going to give everything away, but when they won in 2010, I mean, I'd never heard this before, but the whole team, they were a little probably buzzed, celebrating. They called Dale down, they called his house. I think he was actually just hired by the Panthers, and he was watching the game with the Panthers staff, and the Hawks called him, and they said, Dale, we want to congratulate you, and you were a big part of this, and we really appreciate you. And Dale got real emotional about it. He said he was one of the only guys to know that puck went in by Kane, when it went through Leighton. And he was real emotional about it. He says he loves all the guys, got a great relationship with Q still, great relationship with Marian Hossa. Marian Hossa actually wanted him to be at the jersey retirement, and he showed up. He said, I had to support my good friend Marian Hossa, which he called the missing piece. And Dale was right. He's just a great hockey guy. It would be a great guy to, sit down with and talk to and just listen to his stories and his journey. I think he was a great Hawks GM. I think he was a great Hawks color analyst too. He's unbelievable. He's got some funny lines with Pat Foley. He actually talked about that too. He talked about drafting Taves and Kane. He actually had Taves ranked number 1 in that draft. So when he went 3rd, he said it was a no-brainer. It was one of the easiest picks he's ever made. And he was right. Taves has been, huge pillar in this, foundation of the great dynasty that he built. He brought in some great players. I'm always reminiscing about this 2010 team, and it's unbelievable what he had and what he brought in. I think he traded Matt Ellison for Patrick Sharp. He traded Tuomo Ruutu for Andrew Ladd. He drafted Bolin, Brouwer. He brought in Antti Niemi as a free agent. Ended up, being the stud in the playoffs. He signed Cristobal Huet to be a stud, and Niemi just outplayed him. The year before, he signed Brian Campbell to a huge deal, which I think Brian Campbell coming here was kind of opened the door for a bunch of free agents to say, hey, wow, this is a place where I want to play. Campbell was kind of like the first guy to take the leap, and I've always loved Brian Campbell. He's a great puck mover. Unfortunately, they signed him to be that puck mover, and Duncan Keith kind of, he emerged in 2010 and he won the North that year. And it's like, wow, we can't have 2 guys, being our number 1 defenseman, our number 1 puck mover. So obviously, they made the right choice. They kept Keith and had to move Campbell. But it's funny how he went to Florida with Dale Talon. And it's a great podcast. Came with Strick, Dale Talon interview. I've always said, check out the Tony Amani one. It's awesome. Another hero of mine. Eddie Belfour, Jeremy Rona, Chris Chelios. These guys are good. They're they're real dudes. It's not like too scripted. It's laid back. I really enjoy it. But So yeah, we got next game, Ovi. I think Ovi's going to score 3 goals against the Hawks and get closer to 99. And enjoy it. He's a phenomenal player, great shot. Just the Russian, I call him the Russian locomotive, man. He just steams through people, and he's got a great shot. Obviously, he's a sniper. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Engage with me on Twitter. I love talking hockey. I love, posting, actually tweeting big hits, good goals, debates. I love it. You disagree with me, let me know. I love a good argument. I'm not going to cry about it. We'll have a nice civil conversation, and then we'll move on with our life. But thank you, everybody, and I will see you on the next one. See ya.